For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Shannon de Rehove. Sunday Times columnist Ndumiso Ngcobo joins me to discuss his latest book, Eat, Drink and Blame the Ancestors. Welcome.
Pleasure.
You have been described as the finest and the funniest columnist in South Africa. What inspires your writing?
What inspires my writing? People. It really is that simple. I find nothing more fascinating than people. Sometimes because I live not too far from the airport, or Tambo, and I'll actually just go to the airport, sit down with a large draft and just watch people, and that triggers off all manner of ideas. I really find human beings to be a fascinating species. Not the brightest species, but but absolutely fascinating. Yeah.
How did you get into the column writing business in the first place?
Well, how it happened is I got bored. I used to be in a corporate slag. I used to work for a company called Unilever, and I got absolutely bored at work. Besides, I wasn't really going anywhere. I'm a bit too honest for the corporate world. It didn't really go down too well. So I started writing little pieces and so on. It turned into a book, which we called Some of My Best Friends Are White. Followed it up with one called Is It 'Cause I'm Black? Just a play on those. And as a result of all of that writing, Lerato Chabalala, who was the editor of the lifestyle magazine at the time, looked at it and thought, I think maybe if he's got the discipline to actually write a weekly column, it'd be a great idea. We had one meeting, shook on it, and it's been sort of 5.5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any overarching theme for your writing?
Yes. Human stupidity. I think no, seriously, I think that as a species we're all absurd, and so what I do is I just take the mickey out of everyone. I pick and the theme really is just about all the little things that people do that they don't realize just how absolutely ludicrous they are, and little awkwardness, but also it's also about just getting people to not take themselves so seriously in life. So, I poke fun at the president. I mock and ridicule pretty much everyone about just idiosyncrasies and these little things that we do. And I also, we're sitting here at the Creamer Studios in Bedford View. I also just tell anecdotes about my own stupidity, such as, just now as I was walking in, I remembered a piece that I wrote that didn't make the cut in here, where I actually walked into a glass door trying to get into entrance to in this very mall.
I wish I'd seen that.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing. Yeah.
When did you realize you could make people laugh?
I haven't realized. No, but seriously, my biggest fan and my biggest critic is my wife. She doesn't think I'm that funny. She thinks I'm just really weird. But it's not a case of any realization. I've always I know I have left of center thoughts, and when I share them, I realize that people actually find it funny. So I don't go out deliberately trying to be funny. Well, that's not quite true, because sometimes we'll be writing a column. You read it and you think to yourself, no, I don't think anyone would find this funny. And you kind of go in there and you funnify it a little bit and after you've written a while, you know exactly how to do that, yeah.
Do you agree with the adage, many a true word is said in jest?
Oh, no, absolutely. I think that some of the subjects I tackle, whether it be in my books or in the column, I always make this analogy about how it is that, for the average person, people drink coffee for functional reasons, and really that functional reason is caffeine. But if I had to give you caffeine and say just consume it, I don't think many people would find it palatable. And so a lot of people, will add water and sugar and creamer. Hey, no pun, creamer, and add creamer. But to, sometimes that's how you need to disarm people in order to tell them what I like to tell all of us, just how stupid and absurd we all are. Yeah.
You live around the corner from our studio in Ekurhuleni, and some of your columns provide commentary on the people you meet in the area and your neighbours as well as their dogs. Do you like living in the suburbs, and how different is it from the township you grew up in near Durban?
I absolutely love living in the suburbs, only because I am not a necessarily gregarious person. I do not like neighbors in my business. I do not necessarily like knowing people. I choose people that I want to be with. And when you live in a township, people talk about this myth called Ubuntu, which sometimes you don't really find too much evidence of. Yeah. But when you live in a township, and people will come, and if the neighbor has got a party, people just come and they park in your yard. And if they feel the call of nature, well, there goes your rose bed. Yeah. I like the anonymity of living in a space where people just let me go, particularly in Ekurhuleni, because a lot of my neighbors are Afrikaans speaking, and I love Afrikaans speaking people. Purely because I know it's also another cliche, but either they like you or they don't really care about you. And a lot of my neighbors don't really care about me, so it's perfect for my type of personality. Yeah.
How did you choose which columns were going to be published in your book?
I didn't. Oh. Writing, it's when you write something, it's almost like your baby. Every single column that you write is like your own child, and so you really get attached to them. And I had to learn very quickly when I was compiling my first collection of essays, Some of My Best Friends Are White, that the ones that I truly loved, if you put it to some kind of committee, editorial committee, they would say to you, no, but that one's actually stronger. So I've learned to kind of step away. I mean, I had input. I told them what my favorites are. And they totally ignored me, and these are the ones that they actually put in there. So I have learned to actually just let that bit go, selection and editing and so on.
What can we expect from you in the future?
Well, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you, and I've been writing. I mean, it's since about 5 o'clock in the morning. I am sort of writing 3 novels at the same time. I'm not sure which one will get to the finished post first, but there's one whose overriding theme is really all the oddball characters that I grew up with, my friends that I grew up with. So it's fictional, but it's based very loosely on some characters I know, particularly my childhood. And when people have asked me what to expect from it, is the best reference I can think of is think of the Stephen King Stand By Me, but South African, just about growing up with a bunch of guys. But I'm not going to give too much away, because there is a twist, because we're moving to adulthood, and that's pretty much the fictional part of it.
And the Stephen King part of it. Finally, in one of your columns, you reflect on the problem of people making false claims to have risen from the dead, and that should this happen to you, we should ask you to tell us the secret password. What is the password?
It's 42.
Okay.
Did you ever read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
No, it was too long.
Yeah, it's 42. That's the password. 42, and that happens to be my age, by the way, right now.
Oh, that wasn't what the column said.
I know.
Oh, that's the whole point of
That's the whole point of it.
Well, now at least we know that you're the right person. Are you making claims to be resurrected from the dead?
I would never do any such thing. I think that the last guy who made claims to rising from the dead, we know how that ended up for him.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure.
And I wish you all the best with this book and with the future novels as well. Maybe we'll see you back here for those.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Yeah. Thank you. That was Ndumiso Ngcobo, Sunday Times columnist, speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about his book, Eat, Drink and Blame the Ancestors.